So I was born in Melbourne, born in East Melbourne in 1959, and grew up in a house in suburban Melbourne. Nothing particularly remarkable. It was a house full of books. Grew up with lots of books, so read lots of classic children's books, but also there was a lot of, we had encyclopedias in the house, and we had subscribed to some really interesting science books, which were a thing in the 60s. So I guess I grew up with reading a lot. I guess that's been a constant thread through my whole life. And so I remember that. I remember getting interested in electronics, and so I had little electronics kits. I probably had chemistry sets. I was probably more interested in those things than train sets and car sets. So very definitely geeky quite early on. I was interested in cameras at one point. My dad was a photographer, and he gave me sort of cast-off cameras which I could play with. I'm not sure if he gave me film, but definite memories of cameras. Space program was happening in the 60s. So born in 59, Sputnik had gone up a couple of years before. First man in space wasn't until a couple of years afterwards. So I guess when I was Mercury program happened, which is NASA's single man per mission, then the Gemini program, and then finally the Apollo mission. So I clearly read avidly about that, tracked what was going on in the newspapers. I've got scrapbooks that where I've cut out articles about this Gemini launch or that Apollo launch. I saw the moon landing, saw Armstrong walk on the moon. I was at school, and we all got shunted into a big hall, and there was like one TV. And the picture was pretty rubbish, actually. It was actually hard to tell what was happening. But you got a sense that it was momentous, knew what was happening, but the picture on the telly was didn't really do it justice.